check. One, two, 1, 2. Check.
Balls up this end, Dad.
Yeah, it's pretty covered with that plastic above it, you know, above the microphone. So it's not bad. Well, everything is like... Well, let's have a look on the screen if it's level.
Welcome to Valley Road for this huge NPL Tasmania clash between the Devonport Strikers and South Hobart. It is the McGrath Foundation Pink Game, the first ever one to be staged here. A great initiative from the Devonport Strikers, spearheaded by their goalkeeper Nathan Pitchford, and a massive occasion. But as typically is the case when Devonport has massive occasions in football, so has come the rain. There are real shades of FFA Cup 2016 about this, but that should just fuel the drama further. I'm Andrew Cooling. Joining me to call the action here this afternoon, Camille Douglas. Camille, huge occasion this.
It's a pleasure to be here, Andrew. We're looking forward to a terrific game today in very, very wet weather. Just glancing over the shoulder of Advocate journalist next to me, Bradley Cully, put that in racing parlance. The track today would have come to about a heavy 10 now, and that is certainly the case. And as you mentioned, there's lots of pleasurable memories for Devonport Strikers fans in the rain here, particularly as you referenced those 2016 games in that FFA Cup run. Memorable nights, and the Devonport faithful will be hoping for another memorable performance in what is a huge game in the context of this 2019 season. Devonport Strikers sitting currently 8 points clear of South Hobart, South with a game in hand, and Olympia Warriors 5 points behind Devonport. And a win for the Strikers puts them in a strong position running into the backside of this season, and a win for South Hobart leaves it all to play for as we look towards the end of the season.
Yeah, all very interesting. No doubt Olympia will be cheering the draw in this one in what is potentially a three-way title race, but it will be very difficult indeed if South don't win today. Of course, Devonport came down to Hobart and won the corresponding fixture earlier in the season, and we'll wait and see if they can do that again today and avenge the cup final defeat. Of course, that will still be fresh in the minds of the players too. Add that to the conditions, I think we can have a very physical game here today. I wouldn't expect a whole lot of pretty football along the carpet. It's going to be pretty long. It's might be ugly at times, but it's going to be a real battle of wills out there. As we have a look at the pink ball and pink ball point for the occasion. Plenty of pink around here at Valley Road. Plenty more hiding in cars, really, because it's not a great day to be sitting out in the elements watching the game. Yeah, everyone's scampering for shelter here.
As you said before, Andrew, it's great weather for ducks here today, and as you alluded to, it will be a battle of attrition today on a pitch that will wear down pretty quickly. The teams will probably look to go pretty direct as the game wears on, and with Devonport fielding Miles Barnard up top today, you'd imagine he'll provide a very important focal point for their attack as the game wears on. You also mentioned there previously that the Devonport Strikers here have got the pink McGrath Foundation fundraising event on today, driven by Nathan Pitchford, and also plenty of other members in the community touched by this day. And it's a terrific occasion here, the pink ball as you saw, and there's plenty of pink around in the crowd as we look around today, Andrew, as well. People well and truly getting into the spirit of the day, and that continues into the evening with an additional Dress to Impress fundraiser here at the Devonport Soccer Club this evening.
Yeah, more than a spattering of pink in that one, I suspect. We'll take a look at the starting lineups for today's game, and we'll see the Devonport Strikers there, and Miles Barnard, as you mentioned, does start today. Didn't in the cup final. There was no chance he was being left off the team sheet today, especially given conditions, and especially given the 8 goals he bagged in his last start. I think 5 of them set up by the next man on that list, Eddie Bidwell. Just tore Clarence apart. I think they'll find life a little bit tougher today up against Toby Havine and a pretty solid South defence led by Oscar Thomas and Hugh Ludford in there. But they're going to be the real major weapons in attack for the Strikers, there's no doubt, along with number 11, Max Fitzgerald, been one of the players of the season. And players who can keep their feet might have an edge today, because it's going to be pretty tough out there for all involved. Jack Dance gets the start. Todd Hingston in midfield there. Kieran Mulroney will lead the defensive unit. Connor Park's been very steady at right back this season. Nathan Pitchford, as we said, the driving force behind this game. There's a link to donate below there on the screen. There's links in the YouTube and Facebook descriptions as well. So please, if you can, you're tuning in, you tune into the live stream at all regularly, please think of donating to the McGrath Foundation and raising some money for this great cause. I'll go ahead and say I'll chuck in $20 for every goal scored today. So let's have it raining goals as well. An absolute torrents of rain here at Valley Road today. Rounding out the lineup, Raphael Reynolds, Dom Smith, they'll both be at the back. Joel Stone, what a player he is. He's in fine fettle, really been a key man for the Strikers this year. The bench has Toby Barton, Charles Bidwell, another one of the Bidwell clan, very promising footballing family there. Reef Bourne, a name not too familiar with there.
He's a young central defender. He's been playing in the Northern Championship, certainly in recent weeks. Plenty of skill, a bit raw, but getting his opportunity today on the substitutions bench and maybe called upon if anything happens to some of those starters. So a great opportunity for him to be in and around the NPL squad today. And Tom Pearce, the backup goalkeeper, and Kynan West, who will certainly add an injection of pace in heavy conditions as the game wears on. Players' legs will get tired, so Kynan could be an important substitution later on in this game.
As we see Darren Purton and Rick Coughlin just striding onto the field there with the pink stocks. So not just the players getting involved in the picket side, the strikers, as you can see there, will have the pink socks. The South Hobart crew going with the pink shorts as to avoid too much of a clash. I think we've got our referees' flags, the AR flags are going to be pink. Even the magic spray I saw was being done up in pink. So the referee team really going all out here today.
They have gone absolutely all out. It's a fantastic initiative and great to see it supported from all quarters today.
As we move on to the South Hobart lineup, Samuel Berezanski scored a fine goal coming off the bench last week. Iski van Dorn departing. He's gone to Leipzig in Germany, which frees up a spot on the wing. And Berezanski will come in there. Emphatic hit last week. Loic Farrell's been in fine form in the midfield. Adam Gorry, very familiar name around these parts, was a stalwart for the Strikers, a key part of those 2016 sides we were referencing that played in the FFA Cup. He's conspiring to bring about their downfall today. Darcy Hall starting to look back to fitness, and that's a real key for South Hobart in the run-in. Ben Hamlet, there may not be a striker in better form than him right now. He is really playing some inspired football. Toby Havainen scored that breakthrough goal in the Cup final. Bradley Laka-Seljak, the youngster in midfield, has really solidified his spot there. Hugh Ludford, the central defender. Nick Morton again in the midfield will be key. Oscar Thomas, I think Thomas is going to be vital today because there's going to be a lot of long ball played to the Fox in the box, and it's going to be Oscar Thomas who has to deal with that. Graham Wright selected in goal over Kieran Brown, which has been the case in these Strikers South games. They just like his aerial ability and the big body in there to compete against a pretty physical Strikers team. On the bench, Jack Bowman really had a good game last week, deputising for Ludford. Kieran Brown, the backup keeper. Gilly de Souza has been out for about 2 months with injury, so they'll be happy to have him back with Van Dorn departing. Casper Hallam, the youngster, as well as Owen Alabi. So there's the two teams. What are you expecting from this one today, Cammy?
Look, I don't see too many goals in today's fixtures. It might be the case of the team that makes the least amount of mistakes will be victorious on this occasion. As you mentioned, Olympia Warriors will be watching on today, hopeful of a draw in this one, and 0-0 is a very absolute potential result here in such conditions, but it might, for me, just come down to potential mistakes made, and maybe on the two strikers in Ben Hammertime Hamlet and Miles Fox in the Vox Barna could be key today in holding the ball up when it comes forward and allowing the midfield to come and support them in such heavy conditions. They could really be key in their battles with the defenders behind them. They are probably the key cogs to today's games, and we know that Nathan Pitchford has been huge in these Devonport South games as well. So goalkeepers, as you mentioned, Graham Wright, needing to be secure in the air, as well as Nathan Pitchford in these wet conditions, will be also crucial to today's result.
Might just get the camera down on the coin toss if we can there, Vlasta. Therese Andrews there tossing the coin today. Of course, has been affected by breast cancer, partly driving this initiative from Nathan Pitchford today. Great to see her out there and really putting a face to this really, really important cause.
Yeah, that's right. Theresa Andrews, the wife of former President Rod Andrews, and Nathan Pitchford heard about Theresa's battle, and that gave him some of the kudos that he needed, some of the drive he needed to bring about today's occasion. So good to see her out there doing the coin toss.
I love those pink AR flags. They're fantastic. So we're not too far away from kickoff. This is a huge game, as well as the big fundraising occasion. We can't downplay how massive this is in the context of the NPL Tasmania season. The Strikers could open up a fair gap to South Hobart. They've got an FFA Cup game to contend with, which means they've got that slightly heavier schedule in the run home. They don't want to cede any more ground. If Devonport win today, it wouldn't be a knockout blow, but geez, it would be a significant step towards eliminating South from title contention. The Warriors still thereabouts. But anytime any of these top three teams come up against each other in the run-in, real, genuine six-pointers. And they've had some great battles, these two. They've always been kind of one-goal games, not much between them. And I'm expecting exactly the same here today. Who's going to want it? Who's going to want it the more? I think I might just lean towards the Strikers today. I think they've got slightly more seniority. And I think this is going to be a real physical battle out there. What about yourself? What's your tip?
Yeah, absolutely a physical battle today. Look, I have to go for Devonport today at home with a bumper crowd in weather conditions that the players here are familiar with and have plenty of good memories here on this ground. I have to go for Devonport today, despite the loss of Ignacio Giampoli. But that's also masked by the loss to Visky Van Dorn for South Hobart as we are underway here at the Portress at Valley Road in this monumental clash in this 2019 season. Rosansky tries to play forward only as far as Park, and it's out for a South Hobart throw. So I'm going to tip Devonport Strikers 1-0 today is my tip. The same result as it was coincidentally in their return fixture earlier in the season when Miles Barnard was the sole goal scorer on that day. And he starts today after not starting in the cup final, which would have hurt Miles, but he gets his chance up top in the 9 position today with Joel Stone playing a bit deeper in 10 today as Nick Morton, the Morthog, gets on the ball early. Good pass out to the right wing from Darcy Hall. Back to fitness, as you said, Andrew, driving in towards goals. Lays it out to Morton, a chance to shoot. He does, an early chance on Pitchford's goal, and it just looked like it for a moment. It might have just caught up in the mud in front of Pitchford there. A little bit awkward for Pitchford as he dived onto the ground to stop that one.
Yeah, going to be a real tough day for both keepers. The handling is going to be key. We saw in that FFA Cup game, Giansopoulos was absolutely exceptional that night, but there are a number of saves he had to make that were really awkward, just pitching in front of him into the wet penalty area, and it's only going to get heavier. The rain has got heavier since kickoff as Fitzgerald tears off towards goal, swings this one across to Eddie Bidwell. Bidwell ran rampant last week, and he takes a shot, blocked away by Hugh Ludford, just stuck out the left leg. That was probably bending inside of the post there. Back to Fitzgerald now. So comes in after a bit of an injury scare last week. Some speculation he wouldn't take his place in the starting lineup today. Devonport will be very glad to have him out there as a raking ball played out in front of young Berezanski, who'll get his head up and have a look, and then decides he's going to take on Leonidas there. And look at the mud skipping up early on. Imagine what this will be like after 60 minutes or so. Laka Seljack back on it. His fellow youngster Berezanski combining nicely with Laka Seljack here. South Hobart on the attack, crossing into the top of the box. Morton was arriving. Well done there by Dance getting back. Cleared the area and then seen out by Havainen. So both teams to with Eddie an early Bidwell. Incursion here. Bidwell ran rampant last week and he takes a shot. Blocked away by Hugh
to
Ludford.
nestle in that bottom right-hand corner of the goal, and then important block there from the Warhorse Hugh Ludford as Bidwell now has a chance to run at Ludford. Bidwell uses his pace, he gets by Ludford, a bit of wrestling to and fro, 50-50 to the keeper. The referee lets it play on. Bidwell now with the chance, he gets the better of him, slips a little ball into the Fox in the box, but is well tackled by Oscar Thomas in the game's first corner here in the 3rd minute. Joel Stone looks like he's rocking a pair of pink wheels to match his pink socks in today's game, Joel Stone. So look to put this one over, and the tall timber for the Devonport Strikers stroll forward. King Leonidas, Kieran Mulroney, the captain. Barnard, Parker comes to the back post, headed away by Love, only as far as the top of the 18. Falls to Mulroney, who scuffs his shot into the 18. Players fall over, and it's cleared by South. Up to Hall. Slips a little one out to the ex-Devonport striker, Adam Gorry, but it's rolled out of touch and will be a Devonport throw. It's been a little bit of end-to-end action here so far. A very entertaining start to today's game. Jack Dance getting his chance today in the absence of Daniel Syson and Ignacio Giampoli as the throw comes into Stone, but it skips along off the turf today, and that's something the players will have to watch out for today, Andrew, is in the wet weather. Sometimes the ball is going to skid on and run away from them, and other times it's going to hit the mud and just stop. So very difficult playing conditions. I don't think we'll be seeing too much one-touch football today. It'll just be a matter of getting the ball into the right areas today, getting it wide, getting it into the box, or running off those flicks from the long balls from the nines as the goal kick from right only goes as far as the head. Fitzgerald One back by South Hobart. Back to right. Am I right in saying that Kieran Brown got the start last week ahead of Graham Wright? Is that?
Yeah, that is correct. He was back in net, but I think for these sort of games against a big physical team like Devonport, who have a real threat from set pieces, that they prefer Graham Wright in these fixtures, although Ken Morton also mentioned Kieran Brown has had a bit of a back injury, which may also contribute to that. I don't think he was ever actually in the running to play today, but he has been named on the bench, so maybe just putting that one out there, as coaches are known to do. But I think he does prefer Wright when he thinks there's going to be a lot of aerial work, and if he's playing a team who expects to dominate possession-wise, then you bring him Brown, who can play that higher line as the sweeper keeper, but I don't think that's going to be required too much today. It's going to be a lot more of the plucking the ball out of the air, and I think Graham Wright having that confident aerial presence is going to be key for situations such as this. A second corner already for the Strikers. Joel Stone to take. He'll try and bend this one in. He's got plenty to pick out. Barnard peels off near post. He went in that direction, and as Gorry rather sloppily conceded a corner there, maybe not sure if it was going to the side netting, and just got a little thigh to it, and in the end, another corner for Stone.
An awkward height for Gorry there, as he was on the near post from that corner, and he just did enough to put it behind and out of harm's way for the moment, as the long corner from Joel Stone goes over the back post and over everyone and out for a goal kick. There's the first corner coming in there. Didn't quite have the angle to see Gorry put that one behind. A few changes in the Devonport lineup last week too. In the Clarence game, we saw Dom Smith not playing on that day, and Toby Barton playing in the midfield, who is on the bench today, but Dom Smith back in the 11. So not necessarily settled lineups as they come into today, but certainly the strongest lineups there, with the number of changes. Spraff Reynolds plays it forward only as far as Ludford. The touch a little bit heavy from Lakaseljak, and is won by King Leonidas. Todd Hingston, who tries to play it in behind to Bidwell, but falls to Ludford, and now up the wing from Hawaiian. Lovely touch there from Ben Hamlet, but Berezanski, young Lakaseljak's touch again, just letting him down a little bit there, but a terrific outside of the foot pass there as the ball comes into Hawaiian and looks to Hamlet, who comes across the diving Mulroney and seemed to be kicking in danger on that occasion.
Yeah, probably a fair decision. But he got down very low there, Mulroney. It is the right call, but really putting the body on the line, as is his way, Kieran Mulroney. He's one of the bravest players in the league. He reminds me a bit of kind of Joel Selwood in the AFL. You kind of see him at the end of every match, bandaged up, beaten and bruised. That's what Mulroney is for this Strikers team every week. He just seems to get involved in a couple of head clashes or so, body always on the line, a courageous player, and the type of captain you'd like to play for, I reckon. Certainly leads by example at the back.
He does. A terrific leader, Kieran Mulroney, has been playing for a long, long time. As the ball comes forward again here for South Hobart, and the touch from Hamlet is heavy, and that's going to go out for a Devonport throw. I think I heard a stat earlier in the week that only Kieran Mulroney and Hugh Ludford are the only two players playing today that played in that Lakaselja Cup final in 2008, some 11 years ago, between Devonport and South Hobart. The two players left from both squads still running around in the Premier Division in Tasmania, as Bidwell wins it to Stone. As you mentioned, one of the form players in the state, one of the best players to watch, as Devonport try a bit of fancy stuff. I'm not sure that's going to work today. That one-touch passing in close as Hingston's ball goes out of play, and South Hobart will have a chance to put the ball back in from a throw-in here in their defensive left wing. Ball in Hawaiian's hands.
Was the hero for South in that cup final, bobbing up at the back post with an exquisitely timed volley. Young Toby Hawaiian, not really known for his goal scoring, but nearly scored an absolute rocket in the league match between these two as well. But Nathan Pitchford pulling off one of the saves of the season at full extension. Hamlet just dragged down, but lent into it according to Tony Pert. Probably the right call. He was definitely leaning that way. Now Adam Gorry looks to charge forward. Has some room to manoeuvre. He fires from range, Adam Gorry, but it was always floating wide. And it's taken a little touch on the way, so it will be a corner for South, their first of the afternoon. As we see here, just taking a little deviation there. And South get the chance from the corner. It looks like it will be Gorry to take. Devonport will be very familiar with his game, bombing up that right-hand flank. He's done that many a time here at Valley Road.
Yeah, he also played in midfield quite a bit here at Devonport, and has a best and fairest at the Estate League level here for Devonport, as the corner came in from Guy. Wasn't a particularly excellent corner, ended up bouncing near the top of the 18-yard box and was cleared comfortably by Devonport. As Lovett throws it back into the mixer, and Todd Hingston clears it only as far as Havinen. He misplaces his part now, and Devonport had the chance to counter-attack. Hingston cuts inside like a Zeljak, still looking for an option and doesn't get one that he likes and gives it away. Loic Farrell, the Frenchman, he turns it over now to Jack Dance. He lays back to Raf Reynolds, who comes longer forward, and it's going to be cleaned up by Ludford and Wright. The two conspiring to put the ball now back into Devonport half. Morton up. And one down by Devonport. Dance playing in a deeper midfield role. He kind of thumps it up towards nobody in particular, Dance, and Ludford does the same. Dance clears, and Barnard and Ludford jump. Tony Pert deeming no foul to have happened in that collision, but in the subsequent collision there was. Dance, a slide tackle in on Seljak. Seljak, to his credit, jumped up straight away after the late sliding tackle from Dance. Dance certainly did catch him late, and Tony Pert having a word to Dance there. I don't think there was any kind of malicious intent there from Dance, just a late sliding tackle, and I'm sure we'll see more of those sliding tackles in the wet today, Andrew, as the game progresses.
Yeah, good common sense there from Tony Pert. I think just understanding the conditions that players are going to need to adjust a little bit with the sliding. Oscar Thomas, the target here, over his head. Fell for Berezanski, who fired with a snapshot, just leaning back, but always rising there from Berezanski. He's only can find the back of the net. It was a fine hit last week. First time finishing off Iski Van Dorn's cross, but a tough one to deal with him. Pitchford in that very loud fluorescent pink goalkeeping kit, and I'm a massive fan of what he's done there. And the gloves too. No, they're going to look a little bit duller after about 10 minutes of action here. Bit of mud on them now as Luke Farrell shuts down Bidwell, so he turns back inside for Hingston. Hingston will sweep it across. It's a raking ball there for Max Fitzgerald. Dwells on it then, sent it back for Dom Smith. Smith chipping over the top, just beyond the reach of Joel Stone. And rolling out for a goal kick. So both teams just trying to adapt to the conditions. Pretty tough out there. It's going to be very difficult for both sides to get any kind of passing game going out there. And I think we're going to see plenty of this, just knocking it long and trying to get runners in behind the fullbacks. And it might just be who can keep their feet. It could be a big factor today. Very easy for the players to slip and slide out there. Saw that game Riverside a couple of weeks ago. Players really struggling to keep their feet. Here's Ben Hamlet now turning and charging towards goal. Ends it in the Morton direction. Just undercooked that a little bit though. Invited in Kieran Mulroney. His clearance pulled up, stayed in the field of play. Darcy Hall now trying to make something happen. Fairly tame effort. The French Falcon Farrell looking for Hall, but working back was Fitzgerald. Dance onto the head of the Fox in the box, and now Hingston, that was tight. He worked it to Stone. Stone trying to dissect the defence here. Adam Gorry racing back, but cleared it straight to Eddie Bidwell. Good challenge. Toby Havinen got the ball. That was a big moment there, and he won it cleanly. Bidwell wants to take it quickly. The tempo being pushed here by the strikers. Joel Stone drops the shoulder, charges down the right. Now Bidwell with a dangerous cross to Barnard. And behind it goes for a corner ball. It was the best move of the game from the strikers there.
A terrific ball there from Eddie Bidwell. Hit with pace around head height. Just exactly the service that the Fox in the box thrives on. On that case, he was well marked, and it's gone out for a Devonport corner. But a good bit of play from the Devonport strikers as they posing a threat on South Hobart and Graham Wright's goal. And they look to pose another threat here as the corner again will come over from this right wing from Joel Stone. His right foot and out, swinging corner, looking towards that near post again. He's cleared away by Nick Morton. The race on between Morton and Stone to get to the ball first. A left-footed swing to the back post from Stone is cleared by Adam Gorry. Only as far as Fitzgerald, who on the left tries to play it low forward and turns it over. He's got it back again now though, and he drives at the South Hobart defence. Feigns to pull the trigger, but then turns it over to Morton, and now Tobias Havinen has a chance to move forward. He tries to clip a little ball in behind to Ben Hamlin, doesn't quite come off, and the fluorescent pink Nathan Pitchford comes long up towards the Fox in the box, who will be jumping all day against Farrell and Ludford and Thomas. as will Hamlet and Reynolds. Farrar now nods it down towards Berezanski, and he's closed down by Stone. Comes to Park, whose touch is heavy near the touchline. Might have been better served putting that one first time up into the corner and let Barnard or Bidwell battle for it. Took a touch in difficult conditions, put it out. Nick Morton now on the ball, finds a bit of time. Clever little ball on the feet of Hamlet with a good turn and a good strike. Puts it wide. Nice bit of play from Morton and Hamlet combining there, but just dragging across the shot there a little bit. Hamlet, as he didn't pose any real threat to Nathan Pitchford's goal with the strike bouncing wide.
Just got a message in from Iski Van Dorn, just saying as much as he'd love to be out there helping the boys out here today, he's currently sitting where it's 30 degrees and sunny, and perhaps not regretting his decision quite so much as it stands.
You're finding it hard to regret sitting in that kind of weather when you could be in 5-degree heat here in the northwest coast of Tasmania.
Torrential rain, freezing cold, but a good proper football game to warm the cockles of the heart here, Camel.
That's right. Those old-fashioned Englishmen and British would say this is perfect football weather, and well, hard to argue in some ways. You're going to get a real battle here today, and players throwing their everything as Dom Smith throws it forward over the head of the South Hobart defence, and fell to Barnard on the edge of the 6-yard box. Just couldn't quite get it under his spell, and Ludford did enough to put him off and see it out. So the long ball in from Smith over the head of the two in front, fell to Barnard, just poked away from Ludford, and imagine we'll see that a few times today, those balls falling in and around boxes, falling to players' feet. It might just be who can take the chances. A Stone into the back post. Oh, and Graham Wright handles that well and punches clear. Now to the back post. And Hamlet deep in defence. Oh, he's used to being. Bidwell now has it. Slides it out to Fitzgerald, who has a little bit of time. Cuts inside. Dribbling on his left foot. Drops the shoulder, goes past again. Taking too many touches in the weather today as the French Falcon comes forward. He finds hammer time Hamlet. Up towards Darcy Hall. Raph Reynolds intercepts though for the Devonport Strikers, and the Strikers' faithful cheer on. Fitzgerald looks to cut inside to Hingston. Despite a deflection, he still found his target. Back to Connor Park, who has no option but to try and play it up the line, and wins free kick off Bradley Luck-Seljak.
Going to be extra tough playing out from the back today. South Hobart probably better than anyone in the league at pressing up on opposition, and going to be very tough to play your way through today. Nick Morton gets on the ball, spreads this one out for an on-bursting Adam Gorry. Gorry, let's fly! That's a good save from Pitchford. Darcy Hall, a fairly tame follow-up in the end. And it'll be a goal kick, but Pitchford called into action for the first time today, and boy did he answer the call there.
That's right, we are becoming accustomed to seeing in these Devonport Strikers South Hobart fixtures this year Nathan Pitchford making another terrific save, being called upon to dive to his right, a very savable height, but still hit with real pace and vigour by Adam Gorry as he hit it first time as the ball came across to him on the edge of the 18-yard box, and a very good save from Nathan Pitchford, showing why he is considered perhaps the best gloveman in this state. Devonport Strikers with the throw now on the left wing. Tom Smith with the throw, son of the president here. The Devonport Strikers, his throw comes forward. South Hobart now win it in midfield. Hamlet finds Luck-Seljak, who plays a clever ball in behind to Berezanski. Didn't quite come off though, and speaking of clever, Joel Stone, the artist among the artisans here, has it. He plays it out to Park. Good tackle again there from Berezanski, but it found its target in Bidwell. Bidwell cuts inside. Stone with a bit of room. His touch is heavy though, and Nick Morton does well to track back and win it back. Luck-Seljak on it again. Heavy conditions already. Doing a bit of breakdancing there, Luck-Seljak in that muddy patch just in front of the Strikers, attacking 18-yard box. And what a ball in behind there. Nearly finding Berezanski in an attacking position, and be a case of who can find the right pass at the right time here, and players slipping, sliding everywhere. Dancing again a little bit late there, and I think that might have been Hall appealing for a yellow card there, and Tony Pert quite clearly holding up his fingers saying that was foul 2, that was number 2.
A couple more, one more, and he might get himself in the book here. He's
I would imagine
given
so.
a warning early, and then that one, so he's on notice. And geez, the pitch is being torn up after just 19 minutes here. It's going to be interesting in the second half. Morton again trying to play Ngori down the right. South really with a focus of getting their winger Darcy Hall on that occasion. Gorry will take the throw. They're really looking to push on down the right, which is customary for them. Here's Morton trying to shake free of Dance and then swings in a cross that was always too heavy. No threat to the net of Pitchford there as we approach 20 minutes. And yeah, you can see the way the pitch is being torn up, especially in the middle there. I think we could get real 2016 FFA Cup type situation if the rain does start coming down again a bit more.
Absolutely, a bit more rain here and the pitch could start to get very chopped up, very muddy. I've played in a game here on this pitch actually that got called off once upon a time, just about the hour mark, which was too early for the game to be considered a completed game, so we had to come back and complete it later on in the season. As Devonport come forward here, Todd Hingston on the left foot, scuffs his chance, but it comes to Barnard. A terrific save from Ryan, and Bidwell follows in, but it has been given offside. Bidwell appeals to the linesman here. Bidwell giving the linesman a spray. Now he's going to get a word from Tony Perp, but it looks as if that is Eddie Bidwell's follow-in there from the shot from Barnard, which is well saved from right, has been ruled offside. There's the strike. Not the best angle, but to me, I must say, probably looked onside, Andrew Cooley. I'm not sure. That's just my first impressions. Bidwell not a happy chappy there. We'll might get the chance to see that again, but the shot from Barnard was well saved down low to the left by right. He couldn't quite palm it wide enough of the net to get out of danger, and Bidwell's follow-up was on target into the back of the net, and the linesman deemed Bidwell to be in an offside position when the shot from Barnard came in, and Devonport now inspired by that chance finds Hingston, who's been important already today for Devonport, bossing that midfield there, and Dance plays it long forward, and that's going to find nobody in particular, and it's going to go out for a South Hobart goal kick. And here is the chance. Scuffed across from Hingston to Barnard.
Yeah, that looks on to me. I mean, that angle's not a good one, but
no, it's not
it seems like the central defender's playing him on to me, looking at that.
It does, yeah. Again, not the best angle, but it certainly looks like even Luppert and Thomas playing Bidwell onside there. But the linesman can only call what he sees, and he obviously saw something that he thought meant that Bidwell was in an offside position, and so the flag went up. And South Hobart saved there by the linesman from going behind on what is a reasonably miserable weather-wise day here on the northwest coast in Devonport, as Smith tries to play it into the feet of Fitzgerald, cleared away by South Hobart. So the best chance of the day came to Barnard. Couldn't finish. Bidwell then did finish, but deemed to have been offside. And so the score remains 0-0 to move close to one quarter of this game being completed. Morton on the ball on the right wing. Tries to get it down the line to Hall. Mulroney across to clear on his left foot. Scuffs the clearance a little bit. It's going to be a throw-in on that right wing for South Hobart.
We tick here towards halfway through the first half, and what a moment that was there for the strikers. Eddie Bidwell couldn't believe that he'd been flagged. He was stunned, I think, there, the youngster, but it remains 0-0. South possibly dodging one there as this is thrown into Darcy Hall. Back to Adam Gorry, who's looking for Hamlet. Hamlet works back onto it. Gorry, statuesque ahead of him as he just rolls it back to Loic Farrell. Now Darcy Hall. Outside of the boot, just trying to forge a path forward. Not too much pepper on that one for Hamlet as he gave chase, unable to track it down. Goal kick will be taken. So good signs though in the last few minutes from the strikers. They've had a couple of good moments and obviously the best chance of the game. Barnard, it was a good piece of keeping from Graham Wright initially. I thought Barnard was certain to tuck that one away and drew a very, very sharp save from the Scotsman. And both keepers with one good stop early in this one. Pitchford along. Allowed to bounce, and if it stays in, it might favour Fitzgerald. But Gorry just sees it roll out there on the far touchline. Goes looking for Darcy Hall. And he's really looked like he's bulked up pretty significantly. It's very strong out there on the ball, Darcy Hall. Free kick blown there for South. For Devonport even, and they'll just try and keep the momentum going. Disallow a goal, but the pressure on South.
See what, Andrew, the conspiracy theorists among Devonport fans might start to think that there's some plot behind the scenes.
I'm surprised I haven't heard those theories being raised in the crowd, to be honest. That was the first thought that we were going to get that. But
with the Miles Barnard non-penalty call in the dying minutes of that Lucky Jack Cup final, and that call offside there. I'm sure it'll do the rounds on social media later on, but for the moment it does remain 0-0, and the linesman and official's word is final. So that's what will go down in the record books, and it does stand 0-0. Hingston on the ball again. Finestone uses those quick feet to release Fitzgerald, who tries to return the favour. Plays it off the South Hobart man and out for throw-in. A long ball in here, the replay from Smith. Graham Wright doing well off the deflection to get down in the wet weather. Falls to Stone's feet. He shoots! Oh, and it bounced just in front of Wright, who did just enough to turn around his right-hand post. So the ball fell to Stone here, who got to the ball first. He struck it early and just bounced in front of Wright. It was just a little awkward. And Wright, I'm not sure how much control he had over whether he palmed it wide or whether it hit his arm or knee and went wide. But the end result is a Devonport Strikers corner. Joel Stone again causing problems for the South Hobart defence. Stone whips this one in. It's high into the back post. Mulroney best place. It comes down and it's towed in this time.
Dance.
It won't be flagged here. Dance does what dancers do in the wet weather at that end for Devonport Strikers. His brother Jesse Dance scoring at that end in the FFA Cup round of 32 here 2 years ago to give Devonport the 1-0 lead on that occasion, and his brother Jack does the same. Jack in good goal scoring form for the Strikers at the moment. He scored 2 last week against Clarence. And again from a corner, he finds himself best places the ball, bobbled round in the box. And as I said earlier, it would just come down to sometimes the people who take their chances when it's presented. And I'm not sure whether it was a toe or he just put his foot through it, but he did enough to get it high into the net, past Wright from the corner as it bobbled around. And the Devonport Strikers lead 1-0 here. The Pat Gordon Rimmer stand cheering about that. And South Hobart with it all to do now in the wet, and the crowd against them.
Yeah, dancing in the rain once again at Valley Road. It was his brother back in 2016, scored that famous goal. Slide in, Reynolds brings down Hamlet, and that might just be a slice of cheese too for the Canadian. And it is a fairly straightforward decision, that one, I reckon. Sliding in. So you have a look, Hamlet first to the ball and doesn't get near the ball and takes out the legs.
He was never going to get near that ball, I wouldn't have thought, Ralph Reynolds. It looked like he'd decided in his mind to commit to the tackle, and even once he saw he wasn't going to get there, he threw himself in and brought the man down. And the first slice of cheese today goes to Devonport's number 9, Ralph Reynolds. A long way to play in wet conditions for a central defender on a yellow card, and we know Daniel Syson unavailable today after he picked up a red card in the previous game against South. And the last thing Devonport can afford today is another red card. The ball comes in from Morton and cleared away by Mulroney. He was under pressure from Hamlin. Morton sells 2, goes past Fitzgerald and Bidwell, puts a low ball in and bounces off Reynolds. Hamlet maybe tripped. The curling shot from Hammer Time Hamlet, and he puts it into the back of the net, and the game comes alive. And it couldn't be quieter here in the Gordon Rimmer stand as Hamlet puts South Hobart level. Moments ago the stand here was cheering, but now they are far quieter as Hamlet did well to turn and get his strike away. Not closed down by the Devonport defence, allowed to get the shot. Pitchford stood motionless as it went into the back of his net, unsighted perhaps with the defender between himself and Hamlet, and he just couldn't react quick enough as the ball was hit with some pace towards that bottom corner. And we have a good game on our hands now. 2 goals here early, and on the balance of chances perhaps it's about right, 1-1 here between Devonport and South Hobart.
It was a lovely hit from Hamlet, and I think you're right, Pitchford didn't see it. There was a sea of bodies in between him and the ball. Probably wasn't expecting the snapshot. Picks out the corner to perfection. What a response from South. They are behind for all of 2 minutes and quickly back on terms. And a little dance party that was breaking out here for the Strikers has just been silenced quickly. That'll please Ken Morton, the immediate response. And Devonport, well, they had a pretty good spell. They'd got their goal, and now they've got to get back to work trying to build that lead once again. Just chaos in the penalty areas here. I think just getting the ball in there is not a bad strategy today. Anything can happen in that. And we've seen that twice now for both the goals. Bidwell trying to make some waves down the right. Swings one in. Deflects in that. He's just wide of the back post too. That's what I'm talking about. Just get the ball in there, and we might see some more goal action. Another corner for the Strikers. They're 7th already.
It is old-fashioned British football. Might be what works best today. Get it to the wings, get it in to some good areas and see what happens. And both goals and all the best opportunities have come from exactly that play. And we'll have the chance here again for Joel Stone to whip it in. Jack Dan scoring from Devonport's last corner from that left wing. Can Dance repeat the result? The ball high into the back post again. This time it's Hingston who jumps. It's cleared off the line and over, perhaps, from the Devonport player. I'm not quite certain what happened there, but Hingston jumped best. It seemed to be destined for the back of the net. Here's Hingston off right, and then Hingston's follow-up is volleyed over the goals. He didn't really have much control, and the ball was bobbling around about waist height, and it's hard to get over it there unless you're doing some kind of athletic jump to get your laces down over it, and that technique, unfortunately, just meant that the ball was always going to go over the net from that position as Fitzgerald drives forward and is well tackled by Morton. As we've just ticked past half an hour here in a rain-drenched Valley Road. Season on the line here for South Hobart. A victory is a Masters. Joel Stone cuts away from Farrell a couple of times and attempts to get the crossover, blocked by Gorry. Farrell pulls down Stone. Farrell not happy with the decision, the French Falcon, and it's going to be another kick from that corner from Joel Stone.
Yeah, just a little bit clumsy there, I think, from Loic Farrell, and Stone with essentially another corner. They've had 7 of them, so there's plenty of opportunity to pep up the box with crosses. They go again. This one's in the Barnard direction near stick, and it's deflected off him just wide of the post for a goal kick. It's really the set pieces into the area proving very tough for these defences to deal with. Let's pump it in there. Here's Oscar Thomas, the giraffe. He launches this one along, looking for Hamlet. Just pushed into Kieran Mulroney and then ran into his legs too. And Hamlet protesting. There's a pretty distinct pushing motion he makes here. Made the decision pretty easy, I think, in the end. But Tony Pett, Ralph Reynolds will have to walk that disciplinary tightrope for the rest of the game after his slice of cheese. Very tough for a central defender on a day like this. So long left in the game to come. Just a moment. Players catch their breaths. It's been a pretty frenetic last 10 minutes here. And they're just going to thump this one along again, I should think. Pitchford wants to go short, but plenty of tall timber up there. That's where he heads. Drill it long towards Barnard. Chests it down to Havainen. Away by Hugh Ludford. This is just going to pitch in the bullseye. Spills out the back. Played away there by Park. Bidwell leads Havainen to it. Oh, that was clever from Eddie Bidwell. Peter Havainen all ends up, and then he looks to go past Laka Seljack as well. Farrell across in coverage. He beat a third. Opts to just pick out Joel Stone instead. Stone looking to skip free. Is he brought down there by the French Falcon? I thought there was a little clip, nothing doing. Hamlet now with a touch that lands at the feet of the goal scorer, Dance. And he'll retreat back to Pitchford. And he looks up, that fluorescent pink getting darker and darker as the contest wears. Just tries to finesse one out here to Reynolds, who took it down pretty sumptuously. It wasn't the silver service he was after. Now Nick Morton swings it out to Darcy Hall. Darcy Hall brings it down. Looks up. Lawton support, so he goes himself. He charges into the box and swings across to the back post. Over all comers. And this is just going to stay in play. You can see the way the ball slows up out there. Connor Park. Eddie Bidwell. Again, a lovely little move to get around Havainen, and nothing doing there for Bidwell. I don't know if he's done something to offend the referees, but they're not big fans of him early on in this one.
No, I'm not sure whether Tony Pert felt that perhaps Bidwell went down a little bit softly there, or premeditated the contact and started falling before he was hit. So he waved play on. Perhaps a bit unlucky, but I can see why it was given, as Barnard is given offside again here on the right wing.
Definitely that time.
Yes, well clear offside on that occasion. There's Bidwell. Maybe he thought the ball had gone out of play prior to that, so cause either way. But Graham Wright here now. The Scottishman comes long up towards the head of Mulroney. then his counterpoint on the other team, Oscar Thomas, then heads it clear, but Devonport only return it back to South, and Thomas again going long forward. This time Mulroney tidying up. It's going to be Devonport throw. Mulroney playing it off Hamlet there, and Hamlet not well pleased with the official for that decision, but that won't change the way the ball is going to move now. And Smith comes back to Pitchford, who's being squeezed here by Hamlet. Smith cool under pressure. Pitchford cool under pressure to Smith. Up the line to Fitzgerald. He tries to flick past Gorry. He does. And no foul.
Yeah, I think well away from him there. He's looking for that one a little bit. Fitzgerald has been a little bit isolated early in the first 35 minutes here. Normally a real live wire out there on the flanks for the Strikers. Hasn't quite flashed as much as we're used to, but he'll be never a present threat as Farrell dropped that off for lack of Seljak. Darcy Hall played it in behind Adam Gorry, had to go back and collect it. Farrell again. And Morton and Stone battle in midfield has been compelling viewing in this opening 35 minutes. Here's Hugh Ludford now outside of the boot. Berezanski brought it down to the feet of Hamlet. Away by Bidwell off the back heel of Berezanski. Like a Seljak, Berezanski looking to take a man on who slides in. And it's just outside the box, and it's a good call. And a free kick in a good area. Just on the line, this one. And I agree with that decision.
A good call from Tony Pert there. It's just outside the area. As Park comes across there, sliding. And the last time there was a sliding foul made in this vicinity by a Devonport player, the phases of play resulted in a goal for South Hobart. I imagine this might well be a strike on target, and on a day like today you have to put these ones on target and see what happens. Ooh, as Morton tried a big curler up towards the top left-hand corner of Pitchford's goal, but not quite finding the home it was intended for. Instead it's going to be a goal kick, which Nathan Pitchford will take. Small with a chance from the dead ball position there to test Pitchford in goals. Didn't force him into a save, but did come close to Pitchford's goal as Devonport now have the ball forward, move it forward with impetus, and a good tackle there between Hingston and Hine, and a good wet weather tackle as both players went flying in. Like a Seljak looking to clip it in behind to a Havana who'd made the run forward. Now Berezanski's having to track back with Bidwell on this side. A scooped ball forward from Stone. He's well read by Graham Wright, who goes over in the wet, and perhaps if Fitzgerald had held his feet, he would have had an open net to place the ball into as Wright went over in what was a very wet part of the 18-yard box there. And then Ludford finding the conditions hard there as his clearance didn't find a man in a similar colour jersey. And Bidwell and Heinen battle, and it's going to be a throw for Heinen.
Just wondering if we might have the return of Lake Devonport for this game in that penalty area. Seems to be redeveloping, as that's an acrobatic clearance from Raph Reynolds.
Spectacular clearance from Raph Reynolds, showing his technical ability and skills and athleticism.
Bidwell's liking the tricks too in this one early. He's fancying himself against Havinen. Taking him on as we have another look at that from Raphael Reynolds, the Canadian. Very stylish. Style points for that clearance, that's for sure. Sorry, taken short to Joel Stone. Stone back to Park. Hamlet sniffing about, and Reynolds forced to a hurried clearance, but just got clattered into a little, and a relieving free kick will be paid. 7 minutes to go as we have a look at right here. And that's about where Lake Devonport was situated. I think it's starting to build again.
So nearly a nightmare moment there for Wright as he went over in the penalty box. Fortunately for him, Fitzgerald also went over in that same area, meaning that he was able to recover and pick up the ball before any damage had been done. Dom Smith comes across from left back to take this one. A good long ball into the box, if such a thing can be said, but on a rainy day it certainly can. Mulroney tries a turn in the box. Easily read and put out of play. Hingston into Stone. Stone with Morton for company, and Morton looks like he's won it back off Stone, and he plays it forward. There's only Devonport players in that area though. And Smith will come back to Pitchford, and Park's got a bit of space here, so does Reynolds. Devonport switch the play. chip ball from Reynolds will be difficult for Park to control in these conditions, but does well to get to the feet of Barnard, who hasn't seen too much of it in recent moments, but he gets it towards Bidwell, who drags down Barnard. It should be a free kick, and is clearly pulled him down despite the objections of the Devonport faithful here.
Yeah, I think once you've had one fairly contentious one go against you, it doesn't matter how correct the rest are from that point on. We're all kind of shaded by the earlier one, and fair to say the Valley Road crowd feeling a bit wronged, although it's one of those ones for me. If you score within a couple of minutes after, at the end of the day, it's basically the same result. You probably don't get that goal had the first one gone in, but it certainly did seem slightly harsh on the strikers, that offside call. As this one's worked back by the Fox in the box, who will be tied by the end of this one. A mountain of work up top, leading the line. Tom Smith on the ball. Drops it off for Leonidas. Now it's Ralph Reynolds. Canadian just pulled out the pitching wedge, swung it straight in the Hugh Ludford direction. He decisively heads that one away. It'll be throw in for Connor Park, who's pushing up this right-hand flank. Eddie Bidwell's in all manner of space here, and that's where he heads. Bidwell with a shot for the back post. It was never threatening the goal of Wright, but geez, you don't want to go giving Eddie Bidwell that much room, I don't reckon.
And South Hobart defence caught napping there momentarily as Bidwell received the ball from the throw-in, was able to turn into yards of space and then shoot, but he didn't get over the ball, and it went well wide and high of Wright's goal, and didn't trouble him. As the ball now comes down, an awkward one for Wright as it skips along the ground. Not a regulation bounce from the trajectory of the ball there, and Wright had to be on his toes and was well enough to collect that one. Farrell up towards Hamlet, who brings it down on his knees, slips and allows Hingston to get in, who's been excellent today keeping his feet. Hingston into the feet of Barnard, cut out by the warhorse Ludford. Reynolds, a clip up towards Park, but found by Hamlet. He comes into Morton, who's got time to spread a ball here. Here's little chip, doesn't find the intended target. Mulroney brings it down. Reynolds towards Stone in space. He turns away from Morton, looks to get the pace of Fitzgerald in behind. It skips away from Fitzgerald though. And Gary will go over to take the throw in as we tick into the final minutes of this first half. Here's Bidwell in space. I'm not sure who was meant to be marking him. Maybe it was Berezanski there, but Bidwell did get the chance to shoot. I think he was maybe perhaps trying to cut across the ball and look for that far post, but instead just got under it a little.
So back to Dom Smith. Darcy Hall looking to pounce on it. Joel Stone won it back. Well, Stone stylish there, and he'll be odds on to be the most stylish at the best dressed tonight, I reckon. Joel Stone is
very short odds there.
Here is Ben Hamlet now, charging off towards goal, drawing a crowd. He got a shot off with the left, but never had enough power there. The Devonport defence doing a good job there, just corralling him, getting plenty of bodies in the way. And off balance, was never going to trouble Pitchford with that one. As he again roosts it long, looking for the head of Barnard. But Oscar Thomas, as he's so adept at doing, just comes over the top and uses that towering frame of his. He's so hard to beat in the air, Oscar Thomas. That's probably why Barnard didn't start in the cup final, why Rick Coughlin opted for Giampoli, who's now departed. Just fancied that maybe trying to get the fast runners in behind was going to be a better strategy on that day. On a day like this, there can only really be one option, and in the form he's in, you would not be dropping Miles Barnard, as he's moved up to second in the goal scoring charts after his handy little late last week. Fitzgerald.
I think he still does trail Matty Sanders by about 8 goals too, though, so he's going to have another one of those games if he's going to catch the leader there, as Bidwell has it now on the right wing in space to whip it across, doesn't get it across the line, does well to get off it and cut out the attempt to ball into the box. It'll be another corner for the Devonport Strikers, who will be winning that tally comfortably if we were back in the old six-a-side roadways competitions, where that used to be the settler if the scores are even, which they are at the moment.
Don't mind that, actually.
Bidwell had a bit of time to pick out his cross, maybe dwelled on a little too long before delivering, and instead it will be a corner. So players get themselves set. Stone again over this one. The pink boots and socks looking less and less though as it comes over, headed off the crossbar by Hingston. comes down towards Dance again, but this time Morton gets the toe in front and clears up towards Bidwell, who's trailed by Darcy Hall. Bidwell gets it back to Pitchford and picks up a position wide, and now Bidwell will have plenty of time to pick his next pass. He does up the line, but in the wet conditions makes a bit of a hash of that. Here's the ball over from Stone towards the back post. Hingston rises between, I think, like a Seljak and Thomas, and heads off the crossbar directly above Graham Wright's head, and the rebound off the bar was then cleared away by Morton. The South tries them into play in their half, doesn't come off, and Devonport move into their half, where they've probably had ascendancy in this game in terms of that ground position. Joel Stone turns, gets to Park, who's going to have to deliver forward. Not the ball that Barnard was wanting there. Barnard showed feet and instead passed to play in behind. Use that corner again. Joel Stone towards the back post. King Leonidas rises highest and could easily, with a little bit more control, have been a 2-1 lead to the Devonport Strikers as we tick away the final moments of the first half here. The indication, I think, from Tony Pern in the middle of the pitch there to his assistants was that there will be 1 additional minute played here. Ball in behind, cleared away again by Reynolds. Finds Hingston in space. Closed down quickly and gives it away. Perhaps the last attack of the game here coming from South Hobart. Oh, the flag is raised against Darcy Hall on that right wing. Morton plays it, and ooh, it looks like Raph Reynolds was playing Hall onside. And,
similar to disallowed goal for me. I think the one on the near side was, he was offside, but the deepest centre back further afield probably playing him on. We don't have the best camera angle for offsides, it must be said, but that seemed fairly clear to me. There's another corner. Number 9 here for the Strikers. They have really been peppering the box with the set pieces. And a chance again for Joel Stone. The last one was clattered onto the woodwork. Again, he stands it up to the back stick. Mulraney rising high on this occasion. And just pushed off a little, I think. And it'll be a free kick blown the way of South Hobart. And he's really got some elevation on his set pieces today, Stone.
Taking the sandwich to that one, I think. There was a high angle on there. South launch it forward, and as indicated, there was only 1 minute at a time. And the first half finishes 1-1. The goal scorers, Jack Dance and Ben Hamlet for the two teams. Hamlet, the likely goal scorer, you would think, for South Hobart. Jack Dance, perhaps, probably not the likely goal scorer for Devonport today, but Jack Dance continuing his goal scoring form. He did get 2 last week, and here's the controversial offside decision. Right saving well from Barnard, but Bidwell following in, judged to have been offside. And then here is the goal for the Devonport Strikers. Mulraney rising highest, coming down to the feet of Dance, who toe poked it home, and then doing a jig and a dance. Celebrating in the style of his name, it looks like there. And Morton showing great skill here to get the ball into the mixer. Not handled or cleared by Reynolds, and then both Smith and Reynolds blocking the viewer's Pitchford as Hamlet did superbly well to get it down and under his spell and then turn and then fire so accurately, and Pitchford left stranded as South Hobart made it 1-1 here at the long break.
So that is half-time here at Valley Road. The rain has got steadily harder as the game has worn on. This pitch is going to get heavier and heavier, muddier and muddier. It is going to be a real scrap in the second half. This is a massive game in the 2019 title race. We'll be back in around about 10 minutes' time with what promises to be a massive second 45. Don't go away.
Back to fitness, as you said, Andrew, driving in towards goals. Lays it out to Morton, a chance to shoot. He does, an early chance on Pitchford's goal.
Cross to Eddie Bidwell. Bidwell ran rampant last week, and he takes a shot. Blocked away by Hugh Love. This one in. He's got plenty to pick out. Barnard peels off near post. He went in that direction. And
but a terrific outside of the foot pass there as the ball comes into Fawine and looks to Hamlet, who comes across the dive.
Looks to charge forward. Has some room to manoeuvre. He fires from range, Adam Gorry, but it was always floating.
Dance clears, and Barnard and Ludford jump. Tony Pert deeming.
They need to adjust a little bit with the sliding. Oscar Thomas the target here, over his head. Fell for Berezanski, who trying to dissect the defence here, Adam Gorry. Racing back, but cleared it straight to Eddie Bidwell. Good challenge, Toby Havainen got the ball. That was a big moment there, and he won it cleanly. Pushed here by the strikers. Joel Stone drops the shoulder. Charges down the right. Now Bidwell with a dangerous cross to Barnard. And behind it goes for a corner ball. It was the best move of the game.
Finds a bit of time. Clever little ball on the feet of Hamlin with a good turn and a good strike. Puts it wide when you could be in 5-degree heat here in the northwest coast of Tasmania. Players throwing their everything as Dom Smith throws it forward. Over the head of the South Hobart defence and fell to Barnard's feet. It might just be who can take the chances. A Stone into the back post. Oh, and Graham Wright handles that well.
Very tough to play your way through today. Nick Morton gets on the ball. Spreads this one out for an on-bursting Adam Gorry. Gorry, let's fly! That's a good save from Pitchford.
Case of who can find the right pass at the right time here. And players slipping, sliding everywhere. Season. As Devonport come forward here, Todd Hingston on the left foot, scuffs his chance, but it comes to Barnard. A terrific save from Ryan, and Edward Bidwell follows in, but it has been given offside. Bidwell appeals.
Bulked up pretty significantly. It's very strong out there on the ball, Darcy Hall. Free kick blown there for South.
Non-penalty call in the dying minutes of that Lucky Jack Cup final, and that call offside there. I'm sure it'll do the rounds on social media later on, but for the moment, to get down in the wet weather. Ball to Stone's feet, he shoots. Oh, and it bounced just in front. Problems for the South Hobart defence. Stone whips this one in, it's high into the back post. Mulroney best place, it comes down and it's towed in this time. It won't be flagged here. Dance does what dancers do in the wet weather at that end for Devonport strikers. His brother Jesse Dance scoring at that end in the FFA.
His brother back in 2016 scored that famous goal. Sliding in, Reynolds brings down Hamlin.
He was under pressure from Hamlin. Morton sells two, goes past Fitzgerald and Bidwell, puts a low ball in and bounces off Reynolds. Hamlin maybe tripped. A curling shot from Hammer Time Hamlin, and he puts it into the back of the net, and the game comes along.
Bidwell trying to make some waves down the right, swings one in, deflects in, that is just wide of the back post too. That's what I'm talking about. Just get the ball.
Can Dance repeat the result? The ball high into the back post again. This time it's Hingston who jumps. It's cleared off the line. Farrell a couple of times in attempts to get the crossover, blocked by Gorry. Farrell pulls down Stone. Farrell not happy.
In there, here's Oscar Thomas the giraffe. He launches this one along, looking for Hamlet. Just pushed into Kieran Mulroney. The ball slows up out there. Connor Park. Eddie Bidwell. Again, a lovely little like a Seljak. Berezanski looking to take a man on who slides in.
Target, and on a day like today, you have to put these ones on target and see what happens. Ooh, as Morton. Berezanski's having to track back with Bidwell on this side. A scooped ball forward from Stone. He's well read by Graham Wright, who goes over in the wet, and perhaps if Fitzgerald had held his...
Turn of Blake Devonport for this game in that penalty area. Seems to be redeveloping as that's an acrobatic. Pushing up this right-hand flank. Eddie Bidwell's in all manner of space here, and that's where he heads. Bidwell with a shot for the back post. Never threatening the goal of
Sanders by about 8 goals too, though, so he's going to have another one of those games if he's going to catch the leader there, as Bidwell has it now on the right wing in space to whip it across. Doesn't get it across the line, does well to get up. And again over this one, the pink boots and socks looking less and less though as it comes over and headed off the crossbar by Hingston. Perhaps the last attack of the game here coming from South Hobart. Oh, the flag.
Stone. The last one was clattered onto the woodwork. Again, he stands it up to the back stick. Mulroney rising high on this occasion. And just pushed off a little, I think. And it'll be a free kick blown away of South Hobart. And he's really got some elevation on his set pieces today, Stone.
Taking the sandwich to that one, I think. There was a high angle on there. South launch it forward, and as indicated, there was only 1 minute at a time. And the first half finishes 1-1. The goal scorers, Jack Dance and Ben Hamlet for the two teams. Hamlet, the likely goal scorer, you would think, for South Hobart. Jack Dance, perhaps, probably not the likely goal scorer for Devonport today, but Jack Dance continuing his goal scoring form. He did get 2 last week. And here's the controversial offside decision. Right saving well from Barnard, but Bidwell following in, judged to have been offside. And then here is the goal for the Devonport strikers. Mulroney rising highest, coming down to the feet.
here. It's got even colder, if that was even possible here ahead of the second half. The rain has just ceased a little, still a bit of a drizzle, but you can tell by the pitch if you're just tuning in. A wet and wild day up here on the coast. 1-1 the score. Ben Hamlet cancelling out Dance's opening goal about 2 minutes after that was scored. It's been a real arm wrestle throughout and a big second half coming up here. If you haven't already, please do donate to the appeal. The direct link donation is in the YouTube description and on the Facebook page. I've said $20 for every goal. Paskey's just one up me on Twitter and said $30 for every goal, so I'll match that. So there's $120 raised so far. So we'll see if the goals can keep flowing here in the second half and put a dent in our pockets.
Absolutely. Let's see a hat-trick from Miles Barnard, another hat-trick from Darcy Hall as well, maybe. And
I wouldn't have been making that bet last week, Carly. That pledge.
And we are underway here in the second half. Long ball forward, and it is cleared up the line early by Max Fitzgerald towards Barnard, but the Giraffe, Oscar Thomas, across with him, and they've been each other's pockets all day. And, Thomas's clearance will be in a Devonport throw here and there, left back position with Dom Smith. As he wanders up towards the wing. Taking liberties he's taken about 5 metres there, I reckon, and he throws it up towards the head of Barnard, who had one hand squarely in the back of Gorry, but Ludford strolls forward now. A good ball towards the feet of Berzanski. He clips it out towards the right wing. A bit of an ambitious ball, though, towards Hall and Gorry, and it's out in a near identical position as it was a few moments ago. Let's see how many metres Smith takes this time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Up towards the head of Dance and Stone. And Stone and Gorry wrestle for it. It's 50-50 and it's a Devonport ball. Dance up the line towards Barnard. Again with Thomas.
Well, it's raining even heavier now.
The rain continues to come down here in Valley Road. Looking as the week progressed, I kept a constant watch on how many mils were expected today, and it just seemed to increase as the week went along. Last I checked, it was meant to be 30 to 60 mils today, which is an extraordinary amount of water on the pitch. But South Hobart come forward now. Bradley Lacassell-Jack with Bidwell for company on the left wing for South Hobart here. Comes back towards Morton. Has 2 Devonport players for company. Goes through both of them. Terrific feat from Morton as he got South into a dangerous position there as he just towed it towards the feet of Hall. It might have been there, but didn't quite come to anything for South in the end as Devonport now have a chance to move forward. Bidwell have the chance to play in Fitzgerald with Gorry. Fitzgerald gives Gorry a bit of a shove, but in the end, Graham Wright tidies up.
I thought we were going to see history repeat again there for a moment as Gorry just had front position with Fitzgerald bearing down on goal. But, well done by Gorry in the end. Joel Stone was under his spell eventually and then comes to a stop. So this pitch is getting really, really heavy and the camera light's a bit deceptive. It's getting a bit dark here too out there. It's quite dim as this is picked up by the Canadian Raph Reynolds. Swings it in there to Joel Stone. Geez, even in the heavy wet pitch, he is still class out there, Joel Stone. And he finds Eddie Bidwell here. Bidwell, he gets the better of Havine and then swings it across to the back post. And it just eluded everyone, but it's picked back up, squared away, and Loic Farrell clears. Teasing ball, that one.
Terrific ball from Eddie Bidwell there. Joel Stone did beautifully to find him, showed some fancy footwork, whipped it out to Bidwell on the wing, who lost Gorry, and then Bidwell's ball to the back post eluded everyone. It was a terrific ball in though, with pace and hit low, but Fitzgerald on the follow-up couldn't find the pass. And now South Hobart, as again it comes down even heavier here at Valley Road. It is pouring now. You can even see on your screens how heavily it is pouring. Not great conditions for football, and I think Nick Morton had the idea there. It's the kind of occasion where I think you hit the ball, whether it's from 20 or 30 yards, if you have a side of goal, you just shoot and just see what happens, because it's very difficult for goalkeepers in these conditions too, as Joel Stone tries a little ball in between centre-back and full-back, doesn't come off. Hingston gets it out to Stone, who's got Gorry one-on-one for company. What can Joel Stone produce here? A step, a trick. Oh, he drops his shoulder, and I think he put himself over in the end, but he's still got Farrell for company. He shields the ball. comes back towards Fitzgerald, who hits it first time. Cleared by the Warhorse Ludford. Smith traps it down to Dance, who's going to shoot. No, he clips the ball out towards Bidwell. It's a nice ball. Bidwell, first time to Hingston, who squares it, perhaps instead of shooting from that position on target. Forcing a save might have been the option, but handled it with a nice idea, but didn't quite get the technique right and kicked the ball onto his own foot as Smith drives forward. And his little clip ball wasn't what Barnard was hoping for, and it's to the feet of Wright, and he will now look to launch South Hobart forward, as Devonport have been promising in the early moments here of this second half.
He heaves this one along. Mulroney steers it towards the wing, brought down by Darcy Hall. Paul with Dance for company. They're trying to take him on. So it rolls it into Lackaseljak. Adam Gorry back to Lackaseljak. They're trying the short passing. They do pretty well here. And an interesting pass to Morton from Darcy Hill. Got there in the end. Morton swings a more direct looking ball this time over in the Lackaseljak direction. Just pitches nicely for him, and he'll swing a poor cross in. It didn't give any of the four players who'd made their run into the box a play on it. And we relieve Pitchford there. Just got to ask questions of keepers. I agree. Whenever you can, you've got a chance to put a cross in. You've got a chance to get a shot away. Do it. Get these goalkeepers under pressure. They're not going to get much worse conditions than this. I said shades of 2016 before. We've gone full-blown 2016 FFA Cup in this second half. It is pouring down. Here's Leonidas in the middle, turning sharply with the left. Swings it out to Barnard. Had the right idea, but his backing went into his own back. Kept a hold of it. And Hingston trying to take Oscar Thomas down the outside. Some class there from Leonidas. His cross was blocked off by Thomas. And it spills to Adam Gorry. Coughed it up to Fitzgerald. And Stone just leaning on him. And a free kick blown just as Fitzgerald was looking to burst for it. Yeah, he does go with the armbar there.
He does. Clearly goes to the armbar to bring Adam Gorry down there. The Devonport fans were not happy, but more blatant free kick you're unlikely to see today, I think, as Smith puts it up into the grandstand here. As the players, the supporters take up for cover as the ball came towards them. And a lovely turn from Hall, who loses Smith. He's got space now. He's going to pull the trigger. It's a good strike. And as we mentioned before, anything can happen when you put the ball in. And Pitchford, he got hold of it eventually, but it did slip through his grasp initially, but just managed to get hold of it in the end. His long ball forward only comes as far as Farrell, who gets it down to Hall, who seems to be tucking in quite a bit. He's been playing a bit through that midfield at the moment here in this second half. As Dance goes in hard on Hall, the two of them come together, and Dance might have come off worse for wear there. And Tony Perrott does stop play as Dance hasn't popped back up just as yet, but as hard as nails, Jack Dance, and he'll get up and get on with it eventually. And there is Pitchford, who just fumbled initially, but kept it close enough to home that it wasn't going to cause any danger. We do have a momentary pause in play here as Dance can settle himself and compose himself after a pretty hard challenge. Certainly feeling the effects of that. The hard line, Jack Dance, he'll get up and get on with it, I'm sure. And he will.
And long from Ludford. Headed away there by Hamlet, but straight into touch. Really give Berezanski much of a chance there, and throw will be taken by Park. Looking in the Bidwell direction. Berezanski just tucking in ahead of him. Levine, keep it in. Yeah, he did in the end. Hamlet tried to find Morton. Morton's been strong on the ball today. Can't get around Dance on this occasion. Had some support. Hamlet trying to combine with Berezanski. It was just a little bit too sharp. And
a little bit too intricate on a day like today. It looks nice, but hard to pull off on a day where the pitch has been chopped up, and you can see in your screens there the extreme number of divots in the pitch, just making trapping and moving the ball very difficult, and particularly in close quarters. And behind play, looks like it was Park that was clattered there, and the ball's going to come back some 30-40 yards for Devonport Strikers. Free kick within their own half. Now the managers, the coaches begin to consider what their next involvement in the game might be. They've had the halftime talk, but they need to start considering what changes they make to this game to attempt to get a result. At the moment, the Olympia Warriors are pretty happy with the result as it stands, 1 apiece, and Olympia travel to Launceston City for their fixture this week. Not an easy fixture by any stretch of the imagination, but they will be certainly favourites to win that one, and they'll certainly be right back in it should this finish here at 1-1 and they get the spoils in their game.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough out for them, though. It'll be a similarly heavy pitch, I'd imagine. It was pretty wet driving through Launceston on the way up earlier, so I think that could be a bit of a wet one there too. It was only 1-0 the last time they met as Dance got straight to the back of Havainan and right under the referee's nose. An easy one there. So I think it was an 89th minute goal to Jonathan Malungala the last time they met. But at the moment, we said heading in, there were 3 results possible in this game: a Devonport win, a South win, or an Olympia win, that being the draw. And so far they'll be quite content. But South trying to change all that. Berezanski able to control, and Reynolds defended it well. Here's Kingston working back. Mulroney sends it out wide, but Nick Morton intercepting. And he tries to go around Joel Stone, who wasn't going to let that happen. Stone wins it back, and now he's off towards goal, trying to take on Thomas. Beats Oscar Thomas, and in the end, fouls Oscar Thomas. And a free kick blown.
Oh, he's brought it back.
Brought back, right. I was going to say that seemed an odd one, but probably fair enough in the end. Not much of an advantage developing, I suppose.
No, it was a relatively long advantage, but Stone certainly impeding Thomas there. When the whistle was blown initially, I thought that perhaps it was going to go South Hobart's way, and Stone's remonstrations with Tony Pert seemed to indicate that, but it was coming back for Devonport. Smith clips it forward into the area. It falls down. It could go anywhere, but it is cleared away by South Hobart eventually. Hugh Lopeford, unsurprisingly, the man there at the bottom of the pack, clearing it, as Oscar Thomas strides his way through the big legs, putting it in behind Mulroney here, turning him around, as defenders don't like it to be. He comes back towards Pitchford, who just puts it up towards the halfway line, and South Hobart will have a throw pretty much on halfway.
Here's the French Falcon, Loic Farral. Hamlet making a bursting run. Instead opts to go a little shorter to Berezanski. Farral. Now Darcy Hall. Darcy Hall with a skidding one from range. Don't mind the idea, just trying to get a couple of bounces in before the keeper, but Pitchford was strong over the top of that one. That's the type of ball that could cause real troubles for a goalkeeper on a day like today.
And South seems to have got the message at half-time as soon as they get space to shoot, and that's certainly been their mantra early here. As soon as they're getting within 30 yards of Pitchford's goal, they are taking aim, and we know that anything can happen when they do that. Pitchford certainly was in control of that one, but South Hobart looking to create. Smith now to Barnard, who's touched to Fitzgerald, doesn't come off. It's going to be a South throw. Gorry up towards the feet of Hamlet, who disposes of Smith. Hamlet strides forward now. He cuts across Mulroney. Mulroney tussles with him. Hamlet still with it. Mulroney does win out in the end. Tall and stronger, and a good ball up the wing towards Fitzgerald, who now comes to the feet of Barnard, who tries to turn Thomas. Can he get past those long legs? He can't. Barnard doing a mountain of work today for the strikers. Fitzgerald down to the feet of Stone, who turns away from Farrell, goes past Thomas. What can he produce here? Can he get it over? He can't, but, well, he had 3 there in the end, Stone, and three's company, as they say, so he couldn't quite get it across. Towards Barnard, and it's a goal for the Devonport Strikers. The ball is floated across to Miles Barnard, the fox in the box, in his spiritual home, does what's best, puts it into the back of the net. There wasn't particularly much pace on the cross, but Barnard seemed to be all alone in the box, shades of last week against Clarence, and he had the easiest job in the world to nod it away from Graham Wright. The ball across from the left foot of Fitzgerald was a pitching wedge way up high, goes out of the screen. You can't even see it until it drops back in, and it drops onto Barnard's head, who surprisingly today, in a day where he and Thomas have been in each other's pockets, Barnard finds that space that he does. He finds that hole in the ground, the fox in the box, nods it into the back of the net, and the Devonport faithful just on about the hour mark. The man of the moment here in Devonport puts them in the lead, and now South Hobart with the chasing to do in the last half hour of this one, Andrew Cooling.
Yeah, just can't give Miles Barnard that kind of room in the penalty area. That is criminal from a defensive standpoint. You do not give the Fox in the box that much room. I don't know how much more warning teams needed of that one. He's done the job in the big games time after time in recent years. Now, South responded quickly to the first goal. Hamlet trying to do likewise to the second. Devonport will want to hold the lead longer this time. But look, the cross was in the air for an eternity. He was just between the two defenders and no one really got body on him. They allowed a leap at the ball and just needed to body up and not allow him the free jump. Wright was at the near post and wasn't going to get it back across to it in time. The defenders had to deal with it, or at least put some physical pressure on him. It was far too easy for the Fox. Once again, he profits. And just as he did in the earlier meeting this year, the go-ahead goal from Miles Barnard, and really, Hugh Ludford, he'll be furious with himself for that one. He's an experienced defender. Just needed to at least back and gets the body on him. It looks like Gilly de Souza is going to come on for young Laka Seljuk. So Ken Morton looking to his Brazilian import, who's been out of action through injury for a while, but they'll be very glad to have his services to call upon again.
Silky player Gilly de Souza, so we'll look to see what he can produce in the wet here today. He comes onto the pitch as the only man with his kit sparkling clean. He'll stand out for that reason alone, but Betty Bidwell now has the ball. He's tackled by Berezanski and co, but the free kick blown against South Hobart. Another chance that Devonport Strikers to put the ball on the box up towards the Fox in the box. So I think that's against Havine in there, perhaps. A free kick, regardless, it is a Devonport free kick. And Joel Stone again stands over this one. Stone looks into the box, it's high and it's long, it's going to test right, it comes off heads, and it's into the back of the net, and Miles Barnard, the Fox in the box, sends the Devonport fans wild. He scores a second, he has a brace, he has 10 in the last 2 weeks now, Miles Barnard, as the players celebrate up against the fence. Miles Barnard now covered head to toe in dirt as Devonport Strikers lead 3-1. Stone launching it up towards the penalty spot. Graham Wright doesn't quite get to it, and it just comes off Barnard's head. I'm not sure how much Barnard knows about it, but he'll certainly claim it. It bounces off the side of his head into the goal, and the Devonport Strikers in seventh heaven here as they lead 3-1 at home to South Hobart. And South Hobart's season right now is looking in real danger. Can they respond? It is crucial they respond. What can the Silver Fox drive his men to do? Well, Silver Fox's boy Nick Morton now with the ball with Andrew Cooling. It's all to do for South Hobart now.
It's another Fox that's causing the havoc here right now at Valley Road. You know you're going well when the ball just hits you and loops into the back of the net. He knew nothing about that. He just got himself in there. It wasn't dealt with at all well by Graham Wright. In goal, picked for that very situation. But look, I did fancy it was a day for the Fox in the box this kind of where they're heading into the game. They're always going to pepper the crosses in. And he's a dangerous man. So too is Ben Hamlet. But he can't wriggle free of Hingston and Mulroney here. Pitchford comes across, sliding totally necessarily there to get the ball protected. And he'll lead up a few seconds. But look, that could be a defining 3 minutes in the 2019 season for the Devonport Strikers. Could this be the moment? They just built the lead beyond South Hobart. It's going to be very hard for them if they lose this one today. It'd be 11 points adrift, albeit with a game in hand, but that's a lot of points to make up. And it's Devonport looking strong. They were beaten in the cup final, but they're looking like they're going to get the better of them with 27 left here today. And Ken Stone put it beyond all doubt as he goes looking for Barnard again. He's just become an absolute star around these parts. His goal-scoring exploits in the last 2 years, if there has been a big game, it has been the Fox in the box at the heart of it. So many big goals for this club. 2 more today. And as you say, 10 in 2 weeks. Here's Eddie Bidwell. He'll try and win a corner. Oh, he skips around Havine and beat him all ends up. Squares it back for Barnard. Couldn't get anything on it. Well, I thought the hat-trick was there for all money, but just didn't quite make the contact. Really tough. I reckon the ball bobbling through that mud there, just affecting his shot a little. And South suddenly looking a little bit ragged at the back. And they're in trouble again. This one almost falling in the path of Barnard. Here's Smith chipping it forward, right, out off his line, doesn't get to it. And it goes behind for a goal kick, which will be a relief to a South Hobart team currently under siege. How about that from Eddie Bidwell?
Bidwell cutting back there to the Fox in the box, and he doesn't quite get his technique right. He ends up on his right foot, putting the ball into his left foot, and that kind of bobbles harmlessly across right's goal in that one. But you certainly can't criticise the man at the moment. He's scored the 2 goals. That is the difference between the two sides. Some 65 minutes played here at Valley Road as we have another substitution for South Hobart. It'll be Berezanski off.
Casper Hallam coming on by the looks of things. Yeah, young Casper Hallam.
What can you tell me about Casper Hallam, Andrew Cooley?
Very fast, very lively winger, youngster, just 16 years of age, an impressive young prospect. Probably not really the day for speedsters. He'll try and make an impact, and you can really tell who the fresh players are just by looking at the kid out there, really standing out those pink shorts compared with everyone else who's been out in the mud for 60 minutes or so. Here's Nick Morton trying to will his side back into the contest here. Morton, he swings it in, steered away by Reynolds. And now it's a chance to break for the Strikers, though. Shut down by Havainen. Falls Joel Stone, who has been outstanding again today in midfield. And speaking of men for the big occasions, it seems to bring the best out of Joel Stone too.
Joel Stone, a bit of classic wise play there. He just saw the man coming. He turned his body into him, waited for the contact and went down, winning the free kick. It's been around Joel Stone, knows how to win those free kicks, and certainly played that one. As Nathan Pitchford will look route 1 to Miles Barnard, you'd be a wise man in guessing here as well. So here we go. Pitchford, whoa, he completely scuffed that one. Pitchford has come to Connor Park, only 20 metres away from where Pitchford was. The ball from Reynolds into Dance, who has a chance to turn, whips it to the feet of Bidwell, intercepted now. Comes to the feet of Hallam, who does well to turn Dance. Dance pushes him over, but Hallam does well. He gets past Park 2. Can he get past a third in? Reynolds, he does. He continues his run. Hallam is eventually hacked down by Stone. The Devonport player is not happy. They're pointing towards the linesman who was flagged for a throw-in earlier on in the piece, which is why the Devonport players aren't particularly pleased with the free kick decision as Stone went in there for the tackle. So it has been brought back for a throw-in for the Devonport Strikers.
Hallam looking to make something happen early on. He is a lively customer, slightly built, but saw her a few weeks back at Darcy Street. Really came on and impacted the game in the final 15 minutes with his fresh legs. He's got a real burst of pace on him, and he's not short on confidence to take players on. Here's Gilly DeSouza, shifts it inside for Darcy Hall. He's tracking back nicely was Max Fitzgerald, and now he'll turn and try and win it back the other way. Brilliant tackle, though, from Darcy Hall. Covered in mud. He wins that one, swings it in to the substitute Hallam. Hallam's shot charged down by Dance. A foot race developing. It spills the way of Hammer Time Hamlet. Squares it back to no one in particular in the end. And they'll get the throw south. He'll take it quickly. Goes looking for DeSouza. Let it run and cleared away there by Connor Park. We're halfway through the second half here. Devonport with a 2-goal cushion in this most enormous of NPL Tasmania fixtures. A big game here in shaping the title race. South desperately trying to work back in it. It's Hallam. It's the pass that makes Darcy Hall work for it. Back for Gorry. Can't reach him just again. Holding up in the mud, and that's a poor pass. Just played Dance straight in. And safety first here from Devonport. I think we'll see plenty of just clearing the ball away and kicking for territory here.
I imagine that will be the pattern of the remaining 20-odd minutes here at Valley Road. The Devonport Strikers with a 2-goal lead. I don't think we'll probably see a change until much later for Devonport. A defensive change it will probably be, if anything, as the game progresses. And South will be looking to chase this game, and so Devonport will probably quite contentedly sit back and allow South to come at them. There's no real need for Devonport to press forward for further goals in such conditions, but having said that, here come Devonport now. Max Fitzgerald is one-on-one with Adam Gorry. They've both got pace, so it'd be hard for Fitzgerald to go past him. He does shoot eventually, which is the calls and the cries from the crowd as he dribbled forward, but deflected from Gorry into the grateful arms of Wright, who now has a chance to launch it upfield. Slices that one a little. Smith best placed. Nudged under it by Hamlet cleverly, and Morton now has Smith for company. Morton puts his foot on it, takes a chance to square the ball, recycling the pass, finding Farrell, who has plenty of time. He gets it to the young feet of Hallam, who has the chance to turn. He'll strike again. Not the pace on that one required to trouble Nathan Pitchford, and now Smith with a mountain of space. Smith now has the challenge of delivering a good pass. Heavy touch from Fitzgerald, falls to Hall, comes back to Smith, who just does enough to get it to Stone, who is clever with his feet. Tries to convince the officials that it's come off Gorry when it clearly hasn't, and South Hobart launch forward again. Hall stopped by Smith, and now Stone has more space. He's clipped forward to the feet of Barnard. A clever idea from Barnard to try and get it to Fitzgerald. Just put it slightly behind him, and now the Warhorse Ludford comes forward. He clips it up towards Hallam, intercepted by Park. And Morton with Dance. Dance wins out on that occasion. He gets Stone. He's got it on a few times in the last few moments. Can he find the path this time? He's got three. Oh, and he's hacked down by Morton. And advantage? No advantage. He'll bring it back. No, he won't bring it back.
I think you say he had an advantage. He completely wasted it by hitting a bang average pass.
It was pretty ordinary pass. Didn't quite get near the wide play there for the Devonport Strikers as the rain continues to hammer down here at Valley Road. Very difficult conditions for the players. South launch, a counter-attack. Reynolds and Hallam. Reynolds, strong. He has D'Souza. He goes past D'Souza, the Canadian. Whether he tripped on the dirt or on himself, we're not sure there. But King Leonidas, who is used to wars of attrition, has it now. He gets it back from Fitzgerald. Not many options on for Hinkson here, and he finds the only option that was Dance. Not sure if Dance was passing for Fitzgerald or Stone there, but it's come to Stone. Stone now with Gorry. Goes past Gorry. Can he get past Farrell as well? He drops the shoulder, goes behind his legs, clips it in towards Fitzgerald. A lovely idea from Stone, but just not quite the final pass. Dance goes over a little bit theatrically, and D'Souza penalised there, and Devonport in a good position to get it in towards the Fox in the box. Dance here with a touch with two. A little bit of a soft one. I'm not sure how much contact D'Souza made, but Dance made the best of it and made sure Tony Pertnew was there. We give Stone another chance to put the ball into the mixer.
Just love watching Joel Stone play. He's been fantastic in these conditions. It's tough for everyone, but I think they're really skillful players. They really stand out at times even more because the majority of players can't do a whole lot on this pitch yet. Joel Stone looks like he's playing on a different surface to everyone else, except for the colour of his kit. He bends this to the back post. It's headed there. Unmarked as Reynolds. He's poked home by the Fox in the box. A hat-trick for Miles Barnard and the Devonport Strikers with a 4-1 lead. Surely that's the ball game. Cometh the hour. Cometh the Fox.
Well, it is brilliant. It is bustling. It is from point-blank range. It is Miles Barnard, the Fox in the box. A hat-trick, and again Miles Barnard proving the man for the moment. The ball into the box from Joel Stone to the back post. The players jumped everywhere. Dance flew in with Reynolds. Dance got it back across the box to Barnard, who so often finds himself in the right place at the right time, and he is the right man at the right moment again for the Devonport Strikers to put them up 4-1, a 3-goal lead. And you would think that that is a game, set, match here at Valley Road in these conditions. It would take a miracle here for South Hobart to pull this one back, but they do have a free kick in a promising position right at this moment as Park penalised for coming in there on Hallam. An extraordinary story, though, with Miles Barnard. 11 goals now in 2 weeks. I remember Miles coming up through the junior ranks, and he played as a centre-back, believe it or not, in his early time at Devonport. As the free kick comes in from the Brazilian, but doesn't quite trouble Nathan Pitchford. And Miles moved up to university where he became a bit of a goal-scoring midfielder, and upon his return to Devonport was kind of converted into this striker position. So Miles has certainly found his conversion to a striker to be a promising and fulfilling role as he continues to show what he's capable of.
An extraordinarily impactful player. So that's what's that, 5 goals? So that's 150 each from me and Paskey at this point. Brad Cole called for a Fox in the Box hat-trick to drive up the charity donations, and thus far we've got up to 300. So we'll see if the Fox can cause a little more damage, but all for a very good cause. More than happy to keep seeing the goals fly in the name of the McGrath Foundation here. Do donate if you can spare anything. Very, very important cause, very worthy cause for this big game. And boy, has the Fox in the Box shown up on the big occasion yet again. 3 more for him. He didn't start the cup final, and I reckon he had a bit of a point to prove today, Miles Barnard, and has made it with an exclamation mark. Here's Darcy Hall South. It would take a miracle now for them to get back into it. Gilly de Souza goes looking for Hamlet. Cleared away by Reynolds. Sliding the clearance away. And Havinen gets out off of him. And it'll be a striker's throw in with 15 left to play out.
15 left to play, and South are going to have to throw everything at this here if they are to keep their season alive. Barnard on that particular occasion penalised for his attack at the ball against Ludford. South looking more direct on that occasion. It's come to Stone though, and it falls now to Fitzgerald, who's got Gary for company. Fitzgerald tries to chip right. An audacious attempt from distance, 35 yards or so from goal. The chip was certainly on, so well within his right to take the shot on, as an unintentional pass from Stone to Fitzgerald. Fitzgerald just, maybe the ball got slightly under him and he overhit it. And I think Wright knew from the moment it left Fitzgerald's feet that it was going to sail over his crossbar, and thankfully so. But one could argue the chip was certainly on there for Fitzgerald, and an audacious attempt, certainly not the audacious attempt that Wayne Rooney's midweek goal was in the MLS. Some 80, I don't know, 90, 100 yards, that goal. But Joel Stone doing some breakdancing, comes up with the ball and eventually wins the free kick, and the Devonport faithful love that. And there's a yellow card, a slice of cheese there for the Giraffe Oscar Thomas. Amidst that breakdancing from Joel Stone, I'm not sure what happened, but here comes Thomas, and penalised, maybe.
Just rake the studs down maybe a little bit.
Tony Purr thinking there's a bit of a stud rake or just a toe in there from Oscar Thomas that was a little cynical, so he's given the yellow card, and certainly it was enough to bring Stone's boot off, so Stone pulling it back on now. Good luck doing your laces up when you're freezing cold and your hands are muddy, Joel Stone. I'm not sure how much success you're going to have there. About as much success as some of the kindergarten students have been teaching during the week, I reckon, but Joel Stone has got himself up, and he will take this free kick. He tries to find the one patch of green grass amongst the mud there as he'll whip this into the box. He probably didn't find it. And he'll have to replace his divot there as South counter-attack now, though. They've got numbers, South, here. They've got a 3-2 advantage. The ball probably not quite towards goal as they would have liked. But it is the youngster Hallam now against Fitzgerald. Cuts past him. Has the Canadian Reynolds for company. Reynolds goes in on D'Souza, and the ball still with D'Souza at his feet. He's got Gorry there, ex-Devonportian, but doesn't find his pass. And now up to the feet of Barnard, the hat-trick hero here for Devonport. He goes over. Definitely no free kick there, and Stone has it. He'll release Fitzgerald, perhaps. He does, up towards the corner. That was perhaps where the run needed to come from Fitzgerald, but not in the same wavelength, the two. And right squeezed there by Bidwell, and comes back to Devonport. Stone with a chance to run at them. He'll shoot. He does. Up towards right. Barnard goes in hard on Wright, who stands like a man mountain in that occasion and wins the ball. Morton released. The game opening up here as the legs are tied. It's a counter-attacking game here. The ball comes through now to Hallam, who's got an acre of space to choose his delivery here. He takes a touch, delivers. It's into the box, but it's cleared by Connor Park to D'Souza. Stone on his back. D'Souza dribbles into the box, comes across to Darcy Hall. His shot blocked. Hamlet tries to scrap it in. The ball bobbling around, and it eventually bobbles clear of the Devonport goal. It's going to be a corner for South Hobart. That ball could have ended up anywhere, and thankfully for Nathan Pitchford and the Devonport defence, it ended up wide. I think in the end it was Mulroney who just kicked it behind on the ground. As Morton stands over this corner. I wonder what those two hands raised mean. The ball comes in, it's punched clear by Pitchford, I think. The players always seem to do it before they take a corner, they raise two hands. I'm not sure what it means. I'm sure there's some kind of code, but on this occasion, it comes to nothing for South Hobart.
Pitchford will take it. Look up. Tell you what, Joel Stone is resembling Andy Dufresne at the end of Shawshank Redemption here. Like he's just crawled out of that pipe. He is absolutely covered from head to toe in mud, which just shows the way he puts himself in for absolutely everything. He's been superb in midfield today, and Tom Smith sliding in there. Give you all these strikers players are relishing it, and that was more of a footy bounce in the middle after a goal than a throw in. The foul throw blown, and a substitution in the offense. We have, look at this, and yeah, he wasn't going to get away with that one. Benny Hamlet and
I tell you what, Benny Hamlet's
Max Fitzgerald started to come off, and then they said, no, you're coming too quickly, slow down. And he thought they said, no, it's not me. Just a little bit of confusion there. Sorry, Eddie Bidwell, they were just saying, hang on, slow down.
Well, next season, obviously, that will change. Players can come off on any part of the pitch. A normal event will, change that whole issue of players walking off slowly, or when they say they're about to be substituted, heading to the other side of the pitch so they can then do the whole slow walk off. But I think that's more aimed at professional footballers than this. But even still, we have seen Toby Barton come on here for the Devonport Strikers.
We're into the final 10 minutes. It's a real celebration party type atmosphere here at Valley Road. The fans, they don't mind the wet weather. They've shown that in those FFA Cup games. The rain doesn't keep the good people of Devonport away from cheering on their strikers. A great crowd in here today. They've had a great atmosphere. And they've watched a fine art show in midfield from this man, Joel Stone. And leading the line with aplomb has been the Fox. Smith is looking there for Stone. Hallam, he's added a bit since coming on, just got a foot in. Adam Gorry back to Ludford. Smith chests it down. In dispute against DeSouza, and Smith does well to draw the free kick. And right now it just feels like everything's going against South and every decision's being applauded raucously.
The Devonport faithful absolutely enjoying their wet, cold afternoon out here as they see their team leading 4-1 into the final 10 minutes of this huge fixture, this decisive fixture in this 2019 NPL Tas season. Dom Smith stands over this one. He'll look to deliver long into the box as he's done many times today. He gets it right up towards Thomas's head. It comes back to Hingston, drives it into the feet there of Park, but is cleared away by Ludford. Hingston swings it in again, finding Reynolds unmarked at the back post. A slip from right allows him a bit of time to get his cross across. Park with company. Can he get it across? No, it's blocked. Barton with his first involvement. Tackles with Morton. Comes to Hingston, who does well to win it back. Hingston gets it to Stone. Towed away by the French Falcon, and now Hallam, who's absolutely injected some pace here and has been impressive in his short time on the pitch. But Raph Reynolds, the experienced Canadian, gets one over him there. Todd Hingston, King Leonidas, clips it on his left foot and doesn't get the pass quite right. Comes to Graham Wright, and he will look to launch as time ticks away from South Hobart here at Valley Road.
Yeah, I think the game well and truly beyond them now. It's a big win in the context of this season. The Devonport Strikers, well, have got their revenge for the cup final, and they've put themselves in a very good position for the league title again. Here's Nick Morton trying to make something happen. Deflects into the path of Hallam. Well dealt with by Dom Smith, though. Slid in, steered it away, and then Pitchford gets out in front of Hallam and decisively away. Very well done there by Pitchford on a tough afternoon for goalkeepers in these kind of conditions. So just about for the first time all day, the rain has let up.
It has, as if the guys have decided that now that the game is all but over, they can turn the rain off and let the players enjoy the last 10 minutes in comparative comfort. notwithstanding the fact that they're already frozen to the bone and muddy. Adam Gorry has the throw here. Looks for the feed of Hallam. He's surrounded by two Devonport players immediately, and it looks like it's bounced off Stone onto Hallam and then out for a Devonport throw. Toby Barden, who's come across from New South Wales for work purposes to join the Devonport Strikers.
Strikers legend Braden Mann just weighing in on Twitter, just suggesting that maybe Miles Barnard could have won them the FFA Cup spot had he been involved in the campaign and played a little from the start, top class. And I agree, he's a fantastic player. Miles Barnard just does the job, no fuss, up top. Nothing in his toolbox, I think, kind of jumps out as he was outstanding. Doesn't have searing pace. He's not a giant of a figure, but he just gets in the right spot at the right time. He puts his chances away. He's a very intelligent player, and he just works his socks off up top. And I reckon he's just the type of player, if you're a winger and attacking midfielder, you just love to have leading the line for you. He just does all the intangible things you want. And this year, he's really getting his reward on the score sheet. And I think it's always good when you see those type of selfless players get that reward in the goal column.
Not a controversial call from Braden. I think there, no doubt. I mean, obviously hindsight's a wonderful thing, but one could certainly make a case for the fact that had Barnard started in that Lacazette Cup final, the results could have gone a different way. But the evidence is right here today, with Devonport currently leading 4-1, mostly thanks to a 3-goal performance from Miles Barnard as Devonport attack again. Hallam on the counter. Gives it away. Smith losing out nearly, and does give away a free kick there, just about on the halfway line. As Mulroney, you mentioned earlier that Mulroney is a warrior, a battler, the kind of player you'd love to be you'd have to play under. You'd like to have as your captain, who kind of seems to always end up bandaged or covered in something. But looks like you've been prophetic today, Andrew, because there is Kieran Mulroney leading the back line with half his face covered in tape, it looks like. So there must have been, must have taken a knock to the head at some point, a bit of claret coming out. So he's been patched up there, Barnard. And an athletic attempt at goal there from Hamlet. Incredibly difficult to pull off from that angle on this kind of day to put that towards goal. The ball comes in just behind him, and very difficult on a day like today with the ball of that trajectory and height and angle, and but well worth the effort. Another substitution here for South Hobart. Hamlet coming off.
Looks like Ewan Larby coming on for him for the final few minutes. So Hamlet makes way. Got the goal that got South back on terms. Well, it's looking a pretty evenly contested game at half time, but this second half, the Strikers have stamped their authority and they've stamped their class on it. And Miles Barnard has been the big man up top doing the damage. And he might turn provider here for Eddie Bidwell as he tries to get in behind of Havinen. Now he swings in across looking for Stone. Adam Gorry working back. Just nods it to Havinen. Clears as far as Hingston. Hingston finds Bidwell. Bidwell keen to take on Havinen again. And again gets the better of him, but Havinen recovers. And behind for another Strikers corner. Another late chance, and all eyes will be on one Miles Barnard again. We'll see if anyone bothers to go stand near him this time. He's just lurking on his own. I suppose South have gone the zonal defensive system here, but geez, surely got to get someone up there next to him.
You'd think you'd have someone on him, just even blocking his run, making it difficult for him to attack the ball, even if you are doing the zonal defensive pattern. You do not want to allow someone like Miles Barnard to have a run at the ball. He does come near post here, Barnard, but the ball across from Stone in difficult conditions doesn't even make it that far, so it will be a goal kick as Devonport run back. As they look to hold on to this 3-goal lead, they'll be very pleased with the day's work. Gorry will just look to go route one, and he does up towards the head of Dance. He flicks it away, comes down to Gilly D'Souza. Tries to slip it in towards Hall there, who turns and shoots. Deflected, but Pitchford had time, the pace taken off it by the deflection, and he collects, and he'll just take as much time here as he can off the clock. Launched upfield. Off the head of Barton. Number 25, not one you see so often on the football pitch, but Joel Stone told to hit it by the crowd here. He dribbles away towards the corner though. Looks like it was a little back heel from Stone towards Barton, and the crowd absolutely loving that. Bit of showmanship from Joel Stone, and he can certainly do the party tricks now, Joel Stone, with the 3-goal lead. Devonport with the free kick in attacking position. Barton with Gorry, and Gorry just a bit of a cynical shove to Barton in the end. Frustration boiling over a little bit for Adam Gorry.
Yeah, the fans that once loved him now giving it to him, demanding a slice there.
Absolutely. In fact, probably because they love him, they give him a bit more than they do others, Adam Gorry. But
Joel Stone over the dead ball. Set pieces have given South Hobart all manner of troubles today. They've really struggled to deal with it as this one's bent in near post right. Clears only so far as Hingston. His shot was charged down, spooned up in the air. Oh, Gilly de Souza just gifts it back to Joel Stone. Says, here you go, have it. More showmanship from Stone with the back heel. Hingston might just try and buy himself a corner here. Although he walks the line and bends across in, took all of Thomas's frame to deal with it. Morton eventually able to trap it and then clear in the de Souza direction. Dance worked back well and just impacted that, forced the turnover. As we're into stoppage time, they'll just recycle it out the back. It's going to be a famous victory here for the Devonport Strikers in the first ever McGrath Foundation Pink game. A tremendous initiative from all involved up here, in particular Nathan Pitchford, and I'd suggest there'll be a few in the mood up here to kick on celebrations into the fundraiser this evening. I'd expect they'll learn a bit as Barnard charges in behind. He couldn't pull off a fourth from this position, surely. He's just headed for the corner flag.
Scored a goal from a similar position after about 40 seconds last week, I think, and that near exact same position, but a different situation in that case, with the keeper charging off his line to no avail. But it would have taken a miracle on this particular occasion to beat right from there.
Well, the Strikers just love it when the rain pours up at this ground. They just find a way. The fans love it, and they might get another one here. Got surging into the box as Bidwell. Oh, and it's defended well in the end by Oscar Thomas as Bidwell threatened to find goal number 5.
I'm not sure. I think Bidwell probably took one touch too many there. As he drove it in the box, he should have hit it about there, and he took an extra touch. I think probably looking to try and square the ball instead, but if he was going to shoot, that was his moment, and made the decision instead to try and square it, and that allowed the defence to get back and force a corner instead. It's going to be a short corner, and they're going to play keep it in the corner. They are not entirely necessary with a 3-goal lead, but with tired bodies, it's probably a little bit easier to do that than put it in and then have to chase 40 yards back if the ball goes, or 100 yards back if the ball goes the other way. So, a bit of a cynical throw from Bidwell there against Havana. Havana's standing there perplexed about that, and the official has decided that was actually a foul throw.
No, I think it's a sub. I think Kylan West is going to come on looking over there.
No, it is sub, so that's why Bidwell's walked away, because he is coming off. And he'll get a good round here. Eddie Bidwell has had a very good game today, and one of a number of players in Devonport's front 6 that have played well, along with Barnard and Hingston and Stone. He's been excellent. Kylan West gets his chance. Now rocking the only pair of pink socks on the pitch.
Yes. Was a sea of pink out there to start with. Not so much now. The full-time whistle must be imminent here. Graham Wright, this might just about be the last action of the game. South to Adam Gorry. Farrell. Back to Gorry. And the Strikers win it back. And his dance. Still enjoying every challenge here at the Strikers faithful. Just to down the now got pushed into that Stone. Well, he's really rocking the anti-Dufresne look now. Yes.
Covered head to toe, face included, Joel Stone. The only match might be for him on the pitch, Ben Hamlet. He was covered pretty well head to toe as well for South Hobart. But the final moments here of this fixture, I can't see too much longer than 4 added minutes having it been given. So perhaps into the final 30 seconds now of this fixture, and the Rick Coughlin, the Devonport bench, and the fans gathered here today be well pleased with their work in a wet and muddy Valley Road pitch that will take some recovering after the beating it's received from the 22 and others on the pitch today. As Hugh Ludford has the ball, and the final whistle rings from Tony Pert around Valley Road. The Gordon Rimmer stand, patrons stand, and give a rousing round of applause for their men on the field as the Devonport Strikers are victorious 4-1 over South Hobart today, Andrew Quilling.
Yes, and they go 8 points clear on top. Olympia travelling to Launceston City. That's not going to be easy for them. And this was always a tough game for the Strikers. It meant plenty. The big occasion with the pink game, not to mention the cup final a couple of weeks ago. They get the win. They're 11 points clear of South Hobart now. South with a game in hand, but that leaves absolutely no margin for error, and they need results to go their way now. Their fate is out of their hands. It is a big day for Devonport, a seismic shift in the title race, if you will. And Miles Barnard once again at the heart of it. When it comes to the big games, it's just time and time again the fox in the box who comes up with the goods. As we have a look at the main highlights, that was when Devonport thought they'd taken the lead. Eddie Bidwell couldn't believe that that one was wiped out for offside. It mattered little because moments later they got their first goal, and this was dance. South Hobart would respond shortly after. But we'll leave you with the highlights from an incredible day here. And before we go, just some final thoughts from you, Camel, on what was a pretty important victory for Devonport.
It was always going to be an occasion where the team that took their chances best would run away victors, and Miles Barnard, the fox in the box, when you've got a man like him who so often puts himself in the right position time and time again, and he knows if he gets himself there enough, he will get you the result, and that proved to be the case today. It's hard to go past Miles Barnard for the man of the match in today's McGrath Foundation Pink game, so full kudos to him and to the Devonport Strikers. Rick Coughlin talked today about it not being about revenge today, but about getting the result and getting their season back underway, and that was certainly the case today. They got the result they wanted in a very difficult circumstances, in a difficult pitch against difficult opposition. Rick Coughlin and his men will be very impressed, and for the Silver Fox and his men, it's back to the drawing board and working out how they can get themselves back into this season and hope for a very consistent Devonport Strikers team to slip up at some point along the line.
Yep, they are now in the box seat to make it 3 league titles in 4 seasons, and they gather on the pitch, huddled up there. They know what this result means, and they are loving life, the Devonport Strikers. They'll come celebrate with their fans. I think it's going to be a big night up here at the Dress to Impress evening, because this is a day where Devonport took a giant stride towards the league title. A superb performance led by Miles Barnard and Joel Stone in midfield. And this huge day for the club ends with 3 points and a nice gap atop the table. That's all from us here at Valley Road. We'll be back next week with more NPL Tasmania football coming your way. But we'll be headed your way with Devonport looking the goods once again in season 2019.